They're just in the garden. I honestly didn't even know that many were out here.
What you cooking, Brianna?
We are making like a creamy potato chowder.
Where are those potatoes from?
Our garden.
Where are those onions from?
Our garden. I think that's the only thing in it. If we put a little kale in there, that would be from the garden too. Everything is under the house or in the garden or in the freezer.
Do you know how it's good?
I have no idea.
Under the house?
I have no idea, except I know that the potatoes are already growing eyes, and I think it's just because it's not been cold.
So today we're going to do a little inventory of what you got in the crawl space of the house. And we're just going to show you the easiest way to store things, which is really not doing any work at all. By far the easiest way to store food is just to grow things and store things that are easy to store. And I think this, and we've said this forever, that this is one of the easiest things to store. And it usually is one of the easiest things to grow. This is a butternut squash, and butternut squash, carelessly stored, will last about a year. Longer. Katja, what you doing there?
Just saving some of this grease, but it's got bits in it. Please don't eat that. There's not very much bacon to go with dinner, so please don't eat it, okay?
You're totally not.
I feel like I'm gonna have to take that with me outside.
Where's your potato peeler?
Well, the one I have is terrible. I'd rather do it this way.
You know what's funny about these little paring knives?
No.
I love them.
You love them? Because when I was a kid, my sister and I, we found 2 of these.
Okay.
We were probably 6 and maybe 6 and 10 or something, if that's the right interval.
It's not. Y'all are like 2 years apart.
Okay, we were like probably 5 and
7
or something. We were probably 5 and 7, somewhere in that range, or 6 and 11. And
6 and 11.
I can't do math.
What? You can't add 2 and 6. 6 and 8.
6 and 8. The dog had torn open the neighbor's trash. And we went down there and we found 2 paring knives.
Like this? Like these little tiny cheap ones from the grocery store?
Just like these.
I love these.
One was green, I think, and one was yellow, or it was red and green. And we thought we were kings of the earth.
And you had a knife.
Because we had knives. We didn't care that they were like $1 paring knives.
You bought these. How much were they?
Just a couple dollars for all of them.
I really, really like them.
I saw this trick online about how to get all the bits and chunks out of your bacon grease. Want to try it?
You add water to it and turn it upside down.
Have you ever tried it?
I've never tried it.
Did you see that on social media too?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Let's just see if it works.
In a minute, yeah.
Alright, we're going to add water. So I'll put a lid on it and then I'm going to store it upside down. I don't think it's going to work. Do you think it's going to work?
I do think it's going to work. Why would so many people say it works if it doesn't work?
Okay, down to Brianna's garden. So, back to the idea, the easiest things to store.
Well, so if you look here, look at these gorgeous heads of cabbage I have. They're just in the garden. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on your climate, your first and last frost. It's going to depend on your weather. So we've had extremely mild winter weather, which has been very helpful in growing cabbages all winter. And I can't cover them because it's so warm during the days it would just fry them. So I've left everything uncovered, but turnips, carrots, radishes, kale, broccoli, cabbages, we've had all that eating through the fall into the winter even. Mainly because it's a mild winter, but I could have kept these covered with this agrabah and been able to eat them. I'm really trying to figure out a way to store cabbage so that we can have it through as much of the winter as possible. Storing it under the house didn't go well. It's just a rotten, mushy mess because it's been so warm. Storing it in the fridge works great, except that it takes up so much space. So old timers used to dig a trench and bury their cabbages and store them that way. I'm not exactly sure what climate that works in. Obviously not one where the ground freezes solid. I don't know. I don't exactly know.
Crazy thing is if you take a head of cabbage like this and pick it and then freeze it and thaw it and freeze it and thaw it, it'll just be mush. But because this cabbage has roots in the ground and is alive, it's been through 20-degree weather multiple times and 30-degree weather over and over. But because it's alive, it actually is fine. So they can take quite a bit of temperature. It's amazing to me. I've loved the knife. I'm gonna just peel off these outer leaves. These outer leaves are kind of bug-eaten. But you just gotta keep peeling away layers until you get to fresh, clean leaves. And this thing is perfect in just this far in. It's beautiful and solid.
We had cabbage for dinner the last 2 days.
From the garden.
From the garden.
Amazing. I was here for one of those.
Yeah. So I even have a little bit of broccoli still, and I'm gonna taste it. Y'all have seen me taste test broccoli almost through 4 seasons now. I think you have seen me do it through 4 seasons, except winter, so we'll do it through winter now. This is all offshoots from the official big harvest that we did. The best broccoli you've ever tasted, because it's sweet, because it's winter broccoli. Here, Lulu. Oh, look at all the mud you just fell in. You want to taste the broccoli? Okay. Broccoli. So I actually didn't come out here thinking I was going to show you this because I didn't know any of my side shoots were still good. But there are a few out here to come snack on.
But as far as fresh kale goes, this is it. This is the storage technique right here.
Freeze drying it, freezing it, people can it. But because of our climate where we live, even in our coldest winter that I've ever experienced in North Carolina, I've been able to grow kale through the whole winter. So kale is just such a lovely thing. Some people don't like kale. Some people love it. In our family, we absolutely love it. And so we grow it all winter. And the deer didn't eat it. The deer ate everything else.
And for people who don't know, many people know this, a lot of y'all are gardeners, but kale actually doesn't really grow in the winter. It survives.
It just survives.
It's just basically in stasis. When the days get short and cold, mostly short, it stops growing. And so whatever is here before the days get short will pretty much be here in this climate and be in awesome condition through nearly the whole winter.
Yeah, and if it gets super cold, like 0 degrees, we do cover. I'm trying to think of how low we've ever gotten it uncovered. I don't know. I just know if it's going to get really cold.
0 Fahrenheit. It gets way below freezing. It gets way below freezing, 20 degrees. How cold has it been this year? 19, I think. It's been 20.
Yeah, it's been 20. It's been colder than 20, I think. The other really cool thing about broccoli, and then also other greens you might grow, like Swiss chard, is that they will regrow in the spring. Once the days start getting longer, the broccoli, or not the broccoli, but the kale will start growing back. So it'll be a really nice thing to have in your garden come spring too, because you'll have greens. It's really simple to grow a winter garden in milder climates. Obviously we're not a warm climate, but we're also not deep blood freezing cold either here. It can get that way.
All right, and even more climates, another amazing way to store food is in the ground, and carrots are a perfect example of that because they do really, really well being left in the ground, and arguably they actually have a better flavor in the ground. So Brianna had, I think you planted these late, is that right?
I planted them late, yeah.
Like they've been in the ground, and there's some nice carrots.
There are. I'm so surprised. That is beautiful.
That's just one row of carrots, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more rows to go.
Nice. I honestly didn't even know that many were out here.
Yeah, this is a totally legit way to store them. There's not necessarily a better way. And have we ever had them rot in the garden?
No.
It's not, if these were potatoes and you were to leave them out, they'd be totally a mess by now. But carrots do really well. And the crazy thing is that the top few inches of the soil will freeze solid here, and the carrots are fine. I don't understand it, honestly. It's like the fact that they're alive and they still have roots, they can withstand that.
So something that'd be important for you guys to know if you're comparing your garden to this garden is our first and last frost date. Our first frost is typically mid-October and our last frost is typically mid-May. I have not been down here in a long time. I just trust the kids that there's still food down here. Really sprouting. Really bad.
So
it's just too warm down here this year.
Were these the small ones and those were the big ones?
Yeah, these are the fingerlings. We need to be eating those up more. Look at how many are still left.
They're not rotting.
No, they're just sprouting. Of course they're not rotting.
Like, I don't see a single wet spot on here.
Yeah, they all look really, really good.
And these were the larger ones. And these are 90% gone, 80% gone?
90%, yeah.
Okay. So you've gone through most of what you grew, but they actually look good. Sprouting doesn't keep you from eating them.
No. This is where I have to store foods. This is where I did it, and it's working fine. Sometimes good enough is good enough. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you don't have the ideal situation, you work with what you have and then just be grateful. And yeah, my potatoes are sprouting, which could be because it's definitely not cool enough down here to begin with, but also it's been a very warm winter. So, but we've been eating in abundance, so I'm happy with it.
All right, it's kind of too dark to film over here, so Bree's just gonna grab some onions. How many? Feel them. How many are rotten?
Trying to feel.
Oh, I think from me coming down and getting them, I would say
Some are like pure mush.
a quarter of them, maybe.
Here, I got a bunch of good ones right here.
As much as a quarter of them, but not more, I don't think. All right, so how many onions have you used from your store? Like what percentage do you think?
I probably have half if there weren't rotten ones, but so we have maybe a quarter of them left, maybe 40, maybe 35%. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. This is my first time coming down here in a long time because I just send the kids down here and I'll just be like, "How does it look down there?" And they'll be like, there's mushy onions, but they've never said there's any mushy potatoes. You always come down here and get the other ones, but the fingerlings are delicious. You don't even have to peel those.
Really?
I haven't bought potatoes and onions in a really long time, though, which feels good. I like not buying things because I have to buy a lot of things. Not living on the farm, I have to buy a lot of food. So that, you know, it doesn't add up to much, but it still gives me a sense of joy and satisfaction whenever I can look at a meal and see at least one homegrown thing in it. And I'm pretty sure we still have radishes and turnips to harvest because although the deer ate the greens, the root,
that stuff to harvest?
well, we just leave it out there. But the roots are still in the ground, just waiting to be pulled out. One thing we didn't show you any of the food I have frozen. Which is, I think I have corn, peppers, sweet potatoes, and definitely green beans frozen. But I also, the reason I froze my sweet potatoes was because I had messed up the curing process and accidentally cooked some of them. So I was trying to salvage as many as I could, if you remember when I did that. But I also still have, in my little food storage closet here, a whole bunch of whole sweet potatoes from the garden that we haven't really even tapped into much because we mostly have been eating the frozen ones because they're so convenient.
There's your beautiful carrots.
That's so awesome.
I am a rabbit, Peter.
So good.
Or Peter Rabbit.
Yeah, they just get better and better through the cold weather.
So sweet.
All this stuff that you can kind of overwinter in your garden, it does get sweet. The kale gets sweeter. The radishes, the turnips, the cabbage, the broccoli, all of it sweeter. Did I say kale? The chowder, you have clam chowder, you've got potato chowder, you've got corn chowder. Chowder has milk and flour to thicken it. That's what pretty much what makes it a chowder.
I don't think it's sharp enough to even cut.
I don't think it's sharp enough to cut. That's why I'm letting her use it.
Yeah, that's
got a
right.
knife.
Be careful. She knows to be careful.
She does. She's doing a good job.
It doesn't necessarily mean she will be.
Right,
Can I help you, Trudy?
Can you keep an eye on her while I
No.
toss a little bit in the soup, and then we'll save a little.
She says, no, you can't help. Hey, can you rescue that slug?
Yeah.
There's a slug in here.
That came off someone's shoes or off the food. Here's that jar of lard and water.
Is it working?
Doesn't pour off, but most of it came with the water, and then I'm able to scrape out most of the rest off the top of the lard. So I guess it's working.
Can I see inside? I think that's pretty good.
I think it worked pretty well. Worked better than I thought it was gonna work.
It makes me feel really good, and it gives me a lot of joy to feed my family food that I grew and stored for the winter out of my suburban garden. I think sometimes we think that in order to be successful, we have to grow all of our own food, preserve all of our own food, and then, you know, eat that all winter long. And I just want to encourage you guys that doing what you can still brings a lot of joy. And so don't forget that. Don't forget to not compare yourself to people growing gardens 10 times the size of yours. Don't forget to not compare yourself to anyone, and do what you can and let that bring you joy. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you just enjoyed this little peek into all the food that we are still eating, either out of the garden or out of my storage, and we'll see you soon.
What you cooking? Oh, no. Shh, be quiet. We're filming video.
He needs help with his shoes because he knows we're going outside.
I'll help you. Come here. Look, say, please help me, Daddy. That's what you say. Thank you. Please help me, Daddy. And then you slip it on, and then you got shoes on.